listening to the Departure Lounge podcast with your hosts, Tom Whittle and Ger Dooley. Your ticket to the home of aviation podcasts.
It's Sunday night, and you know what that means. A very good evening, everybody, to what is episode 6 of the Departure Lounge podcast here on my YouTube channel. I can't believe we're already at episode 6, but this is going to be a little bit different to what we're normally dealing with, but we'll get into that shortly. As always, my name is Tom Whittle, and joining me this evening is my wonderful co-host Ger Dooley. Ger, welcome to episode 6.
Welcome to episode 6, Tom. Yes, it is episode 6, and you know something, Tom? A day to go before my 49th birthday, my good friend. Hard to believe it, eh? I turn a big 49 on Tuesday. So how good is it to have my birthday at a podcast beforehand? Isn't it amazing?
It is very fitting, knowing that your birthday's in 2 days' time, and
yes.
Here we are. So like I said, we are doing something a little bit different. We don't have a guest with us this week, but we are doing a question and answer style podcast. So if anyone has any questions for myself or for Ger, or just simply want to say hello, pop them into the chat, and then we'll get those read out as soon as. But before all of that, we'll get into a little bit of housekeeping, as we like to do before every episode sort of gets underway. So as you can see on the screen, as many of you who continue to watch know, you have mine and Ger's Instagram, Ger's YouTube, and my Twitter to follow us and subscribe if you see fit. Obviously, do check out our social medias. If you wish to become a guest on the show at some point in the future, drop either one of us a message, and we will get you on. We've got plenty of booking space, so if you want to come on and spend an hour or just over an hour with us to talk about everything aviation related, or you just want to promote anything that you're doing aviation wise, like I say, give us a message, and we'll get you onto the podcast, which I'm sure will be a lot of fun if we were to have you on. Just trying to think now. Other bits, as you can also see, we ran a giveaway throughout the entire week. It was mentioned on last week's episode of a photo of the week competition. We've had the entries, and that's now shut, so we will be revealing at the end of the show the winner of the competition. Me and Joe both sat down and we deliberated very, very hard over the entries. We have come to a conclusion, and we will announce the winner at the end of the show. At the end of the show.
Yeah, excellent.
Also, that's obviously the housekeeping side of things done. We are joined this evening by someone else. So we're trialling something a little bit different, but he's going to be chatting with us as well, all things aviation related, which is what we're doing tonight. He'll also be reading out the comments that you guys put into the chat. So everybody, including you, Ger,
yes, Tom.
Let's welcome my very good friend Ian Hartley.
Ian Hartley.
How are you both? Yep, you're all right. Good evening, everybody.
Yeah, very well, very well.
Yes,
how are you?
We're in great form.
Good. Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Yeah, I'm all right.
Fantastic. So Ian is with us, trialing something a little bit different in terms of reading out comments and that. So, like I said, if you have any comments or any questions for any one of us, throw them in the chat, and Ian will read them out throughout the duration of the podcast. Just going to get rid of that there. There we go. So that's all the housekeeping done. So Joe, how are you today?
Tom, I'm in great form. Thanks very much. I'm just after tucking into a nice pasta carbonara there over an hour ago. So I'm pretty energetic now. So I'm all psyched up now, ready for a great show this evening. And we already have one comment there from Lee 911. He says, "Very good evening to both Jerry and Tom." He says, yeah, Lee, don't forget now, we have another guest as well. We have a very special friend of ours on Ian is his name, so give him a shout out.
Yes, definitely. So
yeah,
so let's
Tom,
go on.
How are you keeping the scene, my good friend?
No,
and
I'm doing
Ian
well
as well.
Yeah, no, I'm doing all right.
Good.
Yeah, I'm doing all right myself.
Good.
Been a busy week, but
good man.
been doing all right myself. Ian, what about you?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm just like you two. I've had a busy week and everything, but yeah, I'm good. Yeah, just Sunday evening, just chilling out, listening and getting involved with this.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's good to have you on actually, because I know you watch us quite a bit. So yeah, to have you on is a little bit different. But like I said, we're trying.
Great to have you on.
Yeah, we're trying to get. So let us know. Let us know in the chat and in the comments and stuff if you want to see Ian on more, just reading out comments and stuff. So So yes, but shall we get into it then?
Yes, we'll get started.
Wonderful. So let's start talking a little bit about aviation with this next section.
This week in aviation.
Okay, so all we're doing this evening is going through and rounding up all the news. We'll start off with the news that, of course, as we all know, JetBlue, they've secured Heathrow routes, but their chief executive also says, that he wants to kind of explore the European sort of regional airports and that, especially in the UK. So some more of the smaller airports. He's also quoted to say that the Europe to US ticket fees are outrageous. So that's kind of got us thinking as to which airports in the UK could JetBlue potentially be exploring. I'm just wondering about your thoughts. We'll start with you, Ian.
Well, I think obviously Manchester, being from north, just for the simple reason, I think since Virgin Atlantic retired the 747s, it's sort of left a little bit of a hole in sort of transatlantic crossings, I suppose. So, so I think Manchester would be a good start for them, to be honest. I think the business is there if they want it. So, I'd say Manchester.
Especially given the sort of the hole that's been left from, like, say, like the Virgin
Absolutely, yes.
And that.
Yeah, since Virgin have retired the 747s. I think they're flying 330s, I think, out of there, aren't they, over to the States at the moment? And I think Singapore, they were they flying to Chicago from Manchester? They had that 350, didn't they?
Houston, I believe it's Houston, I believe.
Yeah.
Actually,
Houston, sorry, I always get the two confused. So I would imagine when everything starts getting back to normal, Singapore will resume that flight across to Houston, if they haven't already done it. I'm not 100% certain whether they have or not, but I think there is business in the north of England for transatlantic flights, to be honest, and I think there is a bit of a hole there at the moment.
Yeah,
definitely.
I totally agree. With you,
Ian.
Yeah.
So you say Manchester. Sorry, Joe, what about you? What do you think JetBlue will have in mind?
Well, I will definitely go with what Ian is saying, but I'm going to also go on my own accord as well, because I reckon London Gatwick might be another kind of option as well. Now I'm only kind of putting it together that way, that Gatwick might be a good area for transatlantic service for them, and possibly Birmingham, maybe.
Interesting shout.
Yeah.
I mean, they're trying to do cheaper fares, aren't they? So they're going to want smaller airports because of the fees and what have you involved. So they're not really going to want to use places like Heathrow, are they? So they are going to, suppose, go from regional airports just because of the cost to them.
But But guys, you know something? Another key factor might be as well. East Midlands could be another interesting one as well, because like doesn't Tui's Dreamliner sometimes pop in there sometimes, Tom, don't they?
I believe so. Yeah, they do obviously from Bristol and stuff.
To
refuel and stuff. But I don't think it's anything to do with like passenger side of things. I think they may collect a few more, but purely sort of mainly a refueling sort of stop, if anything.
You know, all in all, guys, if I quote this right, how many airports are in the UK altogether?
We'll be here all night.
Yeah, there's a few in there.
Yeah, so there is a lot of options there for them to actually go into having a look around and see which option is there for them. But you know, some guys, I think though I have a feeling Heathrow will actually get a transatlantic service from them. Going to be interesting to see though. We'll have to see now what this CEO fella belong to this airline actually does now, because I'd say it's going to Stansted now could be another option as well. I'm just after clicking there now as well.
I think so. I mean, for me, I think another option I think would be maybe Bristol.
Bristol,
Bristol,
exactly,
I think
Tom.
Bristol could be another good option because
years
ago, I can't think how long ago it was, but a few years back, they used to have Continental 757s doing the run to Newark from Bristol, and it was the only sort of transatlantic offering that was going out of Bristol. And now obviously there's nothing. So if they look at that market and go, actually, Bristol is sort of an untouched territory because it's mainly sort of for holiday destinations and that. If they look at how they can utilise their A321s and go, well, you know, Bristol's right on sort of the edge of the west of England. You know, one, it'll be sort of efficient for them, and two, it opens up that market then for people to come in and, you know, rather than have to go into London and then try and find a connection to, like, say, get a train or something. They can look at it from that perspective.
That's it. It depends on what kind of business they're after. If they're after, like, business people, like commuters and things like that, they're going to go into places like London, aren't they? But if they're after holiday passengers, then perhaps somewhere like Bristol would be a better idea, wouldn't it? It'd be cheaper for them to run out of Bristol, and it's an easy place to get to for everyone, really, isn't it? You know, it's not an arse end of anywhere, if you forgive me French, but it's quite an easy place to get to, Bristol. So
there's a thing though now, Tom. What is the biggest transatlantic aircraft that has passed through Bristol Airport before? Like, I know you've had the Dreamliner in Bristol a couple of times.
Well, the Dreamliner is more of a mainstay sort of thing, because it's only in the summer, and then sometimes in the sometimes in the autumn/winter, there's one or two sort of flights that go off to like Cancun in Mexico.
All right.
And I think the biggest one really that sort of comes in that's irregular is, I think we've had the A330 go in a few times.
Nice.
The last time that happened was when there was the Champions League final in Cardiff, and a lot of airlines used Cardiff and Bristol to.
I remember that.
I believe there was I want to say an MD-83.
Oh, noisy one.
I think it wasn't one of the longer variants, so it must have been one of the short ones. It was either an 83 or an 82.
Could have been a DC-9 too.
No, definitely an MD. I'm going to go with MD-83 because it seems likely. But that came in. It was bringing in. I'm trying to think who was playing at the time. Oh gosh.
Was it Danish Air Transport?
No, this was. I can't remember now. I'll have to have a look. But I can't remember who was playing at the time. But yeah, so a lot of like planes were coming into Bristol and that, and the A330 was one of them, and it handled the airport very easily when it brought fans over and that. So yeah. So
what is the length of the runway there, Tom? If you don't mind me asking.
Good question. Let me just have a look here because I don't actually know off by heart.
Okay.
So the runway is. Bear with me.
All right, take your time, Tom.
I'm just going to find this now. So the
I think
runway
it doesn't dip or go uphill or something.
It's a sort of a.
There's sort of a slant on it,
Slant,
yeah.
it's a slant on it, and that.
Yeah.
Let's have a look here. It is. Okay, so it's one of the shortest runways on an international airport in the country. It's 6,500 feet long.
Wow, jeez, and it actually handled the A330 absolutely awesome. That's never had a 747 in it, or the good old Queen of the Skies. That'd be amazing.
No, I don't think. Not from what I can think of anyway. I don't think it has.
Right. Okay. No, I just said I'd ask that now, just out of curiosity, because it's been playing on my mind here. My mind is actually going into overdrive here at the moment, so it is.
Yeah.
But it's a good way, though. It's a good way.
But that's what I think. I think personally, for them, Bristol will probably be a better option. I think in terms of going into sort of like Stansted and that. I think it just, like I say, opens a completely different different market in that sort of respect.
Yeah. No. I think I go with you on that one as well, Tom. Bristol would be actually a brilliant place. And wherever JetBlue does end up, it's going to be absolutely awesome though to see them actually over this side of the world, because they're always internal flights to see over the US, you see. So so it's definitely going to be amazing. Then the long range Airbus A321 Neo then is going to play a major part in it. Like it's like Aer Lingus like starting a service from Manchester with the 321 like as well. So like I think they're meant to be doing Barbados or something, or I was quoted, I think today I was talking to a friend of mine when I was out at a shop earlier on, and they were telling me that Aer Lingus were meant to be starting a Barbados route or something from
Manchester. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that's what I heard though, Ian. And I think the A330 could make an appearance as well, I believe.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be nice.
Interesting.
It would. I'd be delighted. I'd be delighted to see that. I would like to be able to go over to Manchester Airport and do some spotting. And next year I see a big transatlantic A330 belong to them, taxiing out to either runway 23 left or the middle runway that they normally use when the changeover happens.
Yes.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Sticking with the JetBlue side of things, back on the 29th of April, so literally Thursday just gone, they've actually taken delivery of that A321 Neo that is going to be on the transatlantic route. So it's obviously progress is moving. It's happening. Sometime in August, I believe, is when JetBlue is supposed to launch it. But it's the long range variant of the Neo, which they've taken delivery of, and they got 13 on order, as well as 57 regular sort of Neos. So they've got quite a few aircraft that obviously they're looking to expand. It's just a case of, like I said, where they will look to do it.
Yeah. So it's going to be an interesting couple of months now, planning ahead for them, like, to get set up and how they're going to do this. Something in fairness now, I wish them the best of luck now with this if it does happen, hopefully.
Yes. Ian, would you like to take the opportunity to read out some comments that we got?
We have a few there.
Yeah. We've got Leo 911 said evening to yourself, Tom and Jer, and Cillian Martin. Good evening to Jer and Tom, and Ian as well. Good evening to you, Cillian.
Hello.
And Jenny French. Hello, Tom, Jer, Ian, and everyone. Good evening, Jenny.
Hello, Jenny.
Cillian Martin. He's a good friend of mine now from Dublin. Ian. He's actually him and a good friend of his are popping down to Kilkenny to visit me tomorrow, especially for my upcoming birthday. So they're bringing me down some presents, and they're going to, hopefully if there's some place open, they're going to treat me to lunch tomorrow. So there's some special friends all the way from Dublin, as I say, coming down yeah. So I'm looking forward to
nice.
that.
I bet you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's jump onto the next sort of thing that we can have a good chat about, and Ian, I'll let Jer sort of answer this one first, if you want to sort of have a think about the answer. So
yep.
as we know, obviously the 787 Dreamliner is not perfect. In fact, it's probably far from, considering it's had engine issues, and it has its occasional problems with various different things. It's been said back on the 28th, so on the Wednesday, Boeing are currently sitting on 100 undelivered Dreamliners.
Wow.
These vary from different airlines across the world, from like Qantas. BA is one of them as well. BA have got a couple of 787-10s that are sitting in the desert, waiting to be delivered still. Yes. What do you make of the fact that there's 100 of them sort of waiting to still be delivered?
Wow, no, that's a very, very good question, and that's a lot, like, Tom, and they're just sitting there waiting, like, for their owners to come basically rescue. Like, they're probably saying to themselves in their own minds, the planes could only talk, saying, "Come rescue me! I want to get out of the desert and start." Flying passengers and flying freight and whatever. I tell you, I could imagine what it's like to be a plane, like sitting there idle, doing nothing, and waiting for its owner. It's like a mom coming to pick up the children from school, like they're waiting patiently to be collected, like, and all these 787 Dreamliners are there, like waiting the same thing, that they want to be collected and added to the fleet. Like at the moment, like BA I think have 2 or 3 Dreamliner 10s, isn't it? As far as I can think, or is it just 2?
I believe it might be 2 or 3. Should be something like 2 or 3. But it is crazy at the amount of Dreamliners that are just sort of sat waiting for delivery.
Yeah.
Has been said. That it's basically issues with the fit and the finish of the where the fuselage joins together. That's what some of the problems are. And the CEO of Boeing, Dave Calhoun, has described it as a nagging problem, because it just seems like it's taking a while for it to fix. But what they have said is that they want to deliver a vast majority of these 100 Dreamliners this year. Now, considering the situation that the world is in at the moment, obviously we can't talk about that actual word.
Yes, exactly.
Do we see that as a realistic sort of target that Boeing have set? And we'll go with Joe first.
Well, the way I look at it, Tom, if they can actually solve the problems without worrying about what's going on in the world, because things is going to get better anyway. We know that. We know, like, everybody's starting to come around now again, and travel is going to start picking up again. So obviously airlines are going to want new aircraft back. Like, I know there's still a few 747s that might be able to come back, which I hope to do. But the Dreamliners, yeah, like the Dreamliner has become a pretty good aircraft now. Like, fair enough, I had issues with battery problems at the start, and of course engines shutting down in flight and everything like that, But they managed. The fair play to them. They got off their backsides, and they got to work, and they got things moving swiftly. And now we have the Dreamliner flying, doing its job. Something. At first, I kind of couldn't really take to the 787, but now I love it. I love that sound. Sound like you seen in my video yesterday. I played from Chicago there, and you could hear the Dreamliner going overhead. How quiet she was. There wasn't even much of a rumble over as she was going over. She was so quiet. I like that. I actually like that. And then of course you had your various other selection of aircraft there as well. Like, so, yeah. No, I think, Tom. I think there's a good step ahead for the Dreamliner. I can see it. I can see things getting better. And sure, now we have the 737 Max starting to get back into the air now. So a lot of good things on the horizon, I reckon. What do you think yourself, Tom? And Ian, of course.
Well, we'll go with Ian first.
Yeah.
I think the fact that they're all just sat there. I mean, if these 100 aircraft what are sat in desert haven't got any problems, like you were saying about the joint problems between the fuselage and what have you, if these are ready to be delivered, whether they'll be all delivered this year, I doubt it, because we're almost we're in May, aren't we? So we haven't got long to do it. So I'd say they'd struggle, but it's like if you was to buy a brand new car, for instance, and if you're buying a car from Ford, while it's sat in Ford, it's their problem. And then if you pick the car up and then bring it home, but don't use it for another 3 months because you haven't got, you don't need to use it, which is what BA don't need to use these new planes just yet because the business isn't there. And then it's your problem. So while they're sat in the desert, it's Boeing's problem, and it's not costing British Airways anything for them to be sat there. It's either sitting desert and it's Boeing's problem, flying back across to UK, sitting in Heathrow Airport, and then it's British Airways' problem then. So I suppose money's got a lot to do with it, hasn't it? So, and I think that's probably one of the reasons why they sat there and nobody's taking delivery of these planes, because they just don't want the responsibility of having to look after them while they're not being used, because even if they start doing nothing, they still cost money, don't they? They still have to be kept airworthy, don't they, and what have you. So
Constantly,
and these big airlines who buy these planes have got enough to do as it is with planes being sat idle. So
exactly.
They don't really want any more at the moment. So I would say they'd hang fire until the business is back, and then take delivery of the planes. So I don't know whether it'd be this year or not, but I'd say definitely within the next 12 months, I think they should be delivered. Definitely. Yeah, because it's all long range. It's all long range stuff as well, isn't it? And nobody's flying to, destinations around the world at the moment, are they? So the business just isn't there, is it? So
it's not there. It's not there at the moment. No,
definitely not. No. So I'd say they'd hang fire.
Like I was just thinking there as well. Like I know Emirates, I think have brought back their 380s now. I think to Heathrow. I think, as far as I know, I think there was one due in. I think today. I think, as far as I know. And now whether it turned up is another thing. And I don't know if Manchester have their A380 back. Do you be down at Manchester yourself much, Ian? If you don't mind me asking.
I think it might have been in once or twice this year, and that's about it, Joe. And I'm not even sure about that. I'm sure it has been in. There's something back in my mind saying it has been in, but it's not being used at the moment. Definitely not. No. Okay,
I just see guys a comment there just after coming in there from Kate O'Connor, Hager, with three lovely hand waves. Big shout out there to you, Kate. Thanks for joining the chat. And if Tom doesn't mind me saying something now, and yourself, Ian, if anyone else wants to join in on the chat, please come in and ask us any questions in the aviation industry, and we'll answer this as much as we can, as I say.
Definitely. So we'll move on from that topic of conversation. I think that's definitely sort of, given us a bit more of an idea really as to what's happening in the world. However,
can I ask a question to you both?
Go for it.
Yes, go ahead.
It's just as simple, without going into it in too much detail. A350 or 787?
I'll let you go first.
Now, will I go first, Tom?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
that's a big choice now. I think I have to go to, well, especially after yesterday when I heard the Cathay Pacific A350 growling when it was coming out of Chicago here. I have to go to 350.
Yeah.
I think for me,
What about you, Tom?
Yeah, for me as well.
Yeah, same as yeah.
The 787 is lovely,
well.
but the thing is what's more sort of catching on the eye, and I think the A350 just looks like a really beefy like A330. For me, it's like all day long. It's the A350.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. So it's just a thought. That was all.
No, you're all right.
But sorry, Tom. I'll let you carry on.
Yeah, you're more welcome to ask us anything, really.
Hey, listen, Ian. That was an absolutely awesome question. Me and Tom actually, I have to say, loved the way you asked that one. That was awesome. Well done. Good man yourself.
Congratulations.
Cheers,
yeah. Oh yes! Oh, the banter is brilliant.
Right, going on to some good news that I've just seen, or that was announced.
Oh, nice.
Also,
I love good news, Tom.
Also, middle of last week, the reincarnation of Flybe. Now they are working hard at the moment to get their airworthy certificate, which will allow them to fly again. News came out during the week that they have received 86 slots at Heathrow Airport for this summer. So these slots will be used to connect London Heathrow with what was a couple of the old Flybe's favourite sort of routes to go on, which is Aberdeen and Edinburgh in Scotland.
I love it.
So they are working towards coming back, but question is, and we'll go with Ian first, will Flybe 2.0 become reality?
I think it'll become reality. I'm just wondering, from a business point of view, it didn't work last time, did it? So why would it work this time? That it's a lot quieter. Logan Air have took a lot of the routes, haven't they? So is there a market for another Flybe? It's nostalgia, isn't it? I mean, I love Flybe, and I'd love to see him again. I love seeing Dash 8s. But from a business point of view, I really don't know. I don't know. I'd like to see it work again, but running two routes from Heathrow, I don't know, because there's. I mean, you've got your EasyJets and your Logan Air doing the same routes, haven't you? So I don't know. I mean, and if you get the choice of a Flybe from Edinburgh to Heathrow or an EasyJet from Edinburgh to Heathrow, if you're a businessman, you'd probably take the EasyJet just because it'd get you there twice as quick, I would imagine. So I don't know whether it would work or not.
Yeah, possibly. I would like to think it would. I'd like to think it would do. Would be a success, because I'm like you. I absolutely love Flybe. And one of my favourite flights has been on Flybe. So I'd quite like to see them back again. I mean, it won't be exactly the same as before, but it's looking positive anyway. That's the main thing with Flybe. Also, they've got one aircraft on their register already, which is a former Austrian Dash 8. So obviously they're keeping the old Flybe's tradition of going to use the Dash 8. Whether they'll just lease, because a lot of their old Dash 8s are now either in Canada or they're elsewhere. So whether a lot of them will be, they can lease them back, is purely dependent on whether the lessor will sort of want to do business with an airline that faltered. And obviously the reason that they faltered was because of the current sort of situation. So I'm hoping, for fingers crossed, that they would. But
I'd love to see him back.
Yeah, but I think it's just to remain
so would I,
at
Tom.
the moment.
So, and something, guys? If they do come back, fingers crossed, I hope they bring back some of those beautiful purple liveries that they had at the start when on the Dash 8. So that Dash 8 looked absolutely beautiful with the purple and the bit of white with the Flybe rating on it. It was absolutely amazing.
Well, they were unique, weren't they? There wasn't another plane like it, was there? Flybe purple Dash 8. There was nobody else had anything near to it, did they? So
no. So it'll be absolutely fantastic. I definitely keep my fingers crossed that Flybe will be reborn and they'll start appearing back in my local airport in Dublin, because as I say, I start back now, hopefully after the 10th of May, when our restrictions are eased here in Ireland. On the 10th, few days after my birthday, I hope to get myself up and do my first visit back. I know it's going to be limited services, probably mostly cargo planes and stuff like that. But there's one plane I am looking forward to getting, and hopefully it'll be on the Friday or the Sunday. It's getting Virgin Atlantic's Airbus A350-1000. I'm dying to get that.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Yes. So we'll move on from the whole Flybe situation to a situation which actually surprises me a little bit, but at the same time it doesn't.
Okay, Tom.
So it was shared yesterday that United Airlines will receive $2.8 billion US dollars in payroll support under the third round of the government funding in the USA. So this is basically used to cover paying of the employees of the airline. Apparently this is massively crucial for the airline because it wants to sort of find a way to return to profitability. Just wondering what you thought of that, Jer.
Sorry, Tom, I was just replying to a message there. Say that again to me.
United Airlines are going to receive $2.8 billion US dollars in payroll support under the third round of the government funding. This is obviously used to pay employees and stuff because they're looking to sort of get back into the profits.
Right.
So I just wonder what you thought about the fact that the government the US government has granted them nearly $3 billion.
Oh no, that's a big quantity of money. Well, I suppose if they're able to get some of the airlines back on their feet, I'd give it a go and see what happens. That'd be the same. Like if a certain airline in the UK was struggling to meet ends. And I was part of a government, I'd try and help them and get back on their feet somewhat. Anyway, give them that bit of a boost. And yourself, what would you think yourself, Tom? Would you agree or would you disagree?
I think I agree to it because it allows them to keep staff, like say, on the payroll.
Yeah.
So they're not firing or getting rid of people just because they feel like they have to. So I think it's a good move for sure. Ian, are you with us, and do you agree with it?
Well, I think but I think one of the main reasons why they have done it, it's people like United Airlines, especially United Airlines. Really, in America, it's sort of the backbone of that country. So if you take United Airlines, if you grounded every single one of their planes tomorrow because they'd gone bust, that would have a massive impact on the economy of the USA because of people just getting from one place to another to conduct business and God knows what else. So I think there's a bit of more of a long-term, I think it's to stop the country sort of grinding to a halt, isn't it? Because they have to keep people moving all the time, haven't they? Especially in America, because of the size of the country. So if you ground the airline, if you take the airline out of the equation, then these people can't get from A to B, and obviously they're bringing in a lot of money to the US economy. So I think by bailing them out, it's keeping the country rolling, isn't it?
Yes.
Keeping the country moving. Otherwise, the country could come to a grinding halt, couldn't it? If you take the airlines out.
I think so.
Yeah, because they use them like buses, don't they? Over in America.
Yeah.
It's not like this country, is it? They're commuting around all over, aren't they?
Yes.
So
yeah,
I definitely think it's necessary. Yeah. I think it'd be different in this country because the companies who have struggled during the pandemic are mainly just holiday companies, aren't they? People who take people on holiday and things like that. They're not crucial to the actual economy, are they? Like United Airlines are for, it's still not nice, and I think that's one of the reasons why our government didn't subsidise a couple of the airlines who were asking for money at the start of the pandemic, sort of thing.
Well, you got like Virgin Atlantic obviously were bailed out. They were sort of very close to following the likes of Flybe and stuff, and they obviously got bailed out.
But still, I think they posted 110 million pound losses or something.
I believe so.
Something like that, weren't it? Yeah, I was reading that earlier on. Yeah. So they still made a massive loss, but they're still there, aren't they? That's the main thing.
Yeah, and obviously they've streamlined their fleet, which we'll get on to sort of shortly as we go through sort of deliveries, and we'll run through the list of like retirements and stuff just to put into perspective as just how this sort of current situation has sort of affected sort of the airline industry and airlines, of course, having to scale down their fleets and stuff. But before we get on to that, a little bit of news from Embraer themselves. So as we know, they've launched the E2 jet, which is sort of a new gen style of their 175, 190 and 195s. Now, their 190s are in service with Helvetic in Switzerland. I'm just trying to think who else has got them. I can't think off the top of my head. And of course, KLM have got the 195 E2 now, as we know, and they've got quite a few of those on order. What people don't talk about is the 175 E2, and that's because Embraer have pushed it back yet again. So the original date that it was supposed to be developed and supposed to be launching operations was this year. However, the newest date that they have set is 2023. And then once that's fully developed, it's then looking to go into commercial service by 2024. To me, this is a bit like, if you remember back in 2003 when Airbus released the A318, and that didn't sell very well because it was not a marketable plane. This to me is looking exactly like that. I don't know what you guys think. We'll start with you, Joe.
I find this very interesting, actually, Tom. And it's nice to see Embraer bring out a very, very new style of aircraft now as well, and the bigger engines on it then as well. It reminds me of a Neo when I see it, because it has the same ratio of engine power like the A320 Neo, 321, and of course I can't forget the A220, of course, the CS 300 or 100 or whatever, which is known as the A220 now, which I love the fact that it's actually part of Airbus. But Embraer, it's amazing, Tom. I'm delighted to see a new generation of aircraft being visible to everybody to see how the aviation world is changing. Like all futuristic now, like it's gone with the old basically, and in with the new. And yourself, what do you think of the way things are changing now? Every year, so it's something new every year, as I say.
Well, in terms of this particular plane, like I said, it completely reminds me of when Airbus brought the A318 out. Obviously, they had the 319, 320, and 321. So it's almost like it was a bit too much. Now, as we know, like the original 175s are doing really well with the likes of American, I think United Express as well, and even in Europe with KLM and stuff, they're always quite handy, and that's why they've gone for like the bigger 195 E2s, and same with like Brazil airline Azul, they've got a few 195 E2s. Now the problem with this one is because of the delays. At the moment, nobody has ordered it. So nobody has ordered the 175 E2, which makes me think, like I said, it's just like the A318 all over again. So there is potentially one buyer, and it's SkyWest, which I think, if I'm correct, is like a Delta subsidiary. But whether they'll buy it or not, because of this, like, I mean, this particular one first flew in 2019. So to go from flying in 2019 to having potentially entering service, if anybody even buys it in 2024, to me it just doesn't sound like it's kind of needed. I think if you've got your 190s and 195s, I don't think anyone is going to. I mean, I may be wrong, but someone will probably end up buying it. But right now, it just, because of the delays and stuff, I think it just puts a lot of airlines off.
Yeah, and like it is, I have seen, I've seen it like, and it looks a lovely variant as well. Like, so like KLM now, like it'd look well in KLM's fleet. So it would. I'd love to see it in the KLM fleet.
Yeah.
No, you never know. They could actually go for it. Ian, what do you think? What do you think yourself, like, of this?
I think, I mean, they're up against Boeing and they're up against Airbus, aren't they? And they've always been a small player, haven't they? In regards to compared to where Boeing and Airbus are. But I think while Airbus are making a 220, for instance, I think they're going to struggle competing with something like that, aren't you? To be quite honest,
the 220 fills that market already, doesn't it?
Absolutely, yeah, it does.
Yeah.
I mean, and is there a real market for something smaller than you say a 195? Do you want something smaller than that? A 195 is small enough, isn't it? So if you scale that down to a 175, you've got less seating capacity and things like that. So so I don't know. Like Joe said, it'd be nice if the carriers what do fly Embraer planes stuck to them, but they're up against strong market leaders, say in Airbus's 220. So like you say, Tom, I think 4 years waiting for it to go into service is quite a while, and I think it sounds like they're having second thoughts about the entire project, if you ask me.
I think so. I think it's probably just a matter of time before they go. Actually, it's been delayed so long now that we'll probably just scrap it as a whole, because like I say, there's not much interest in it anyway.
No,
and it's considering that the sort of the current generation 175 is still being offered by Embraer, and it's delivered 660 units already. So you would have thought that actually, considering that number, a lot of airlines that have them would go, oh, actually, we'll replace what we've got with the newer one. But it just doesn't seem to be working out in a minute. I mean, it's a lovely looking plane, but whether it works out or not is completely different. It's a different story.
Yeah, I think we'll have to wait and see with that one.
Yeah.
And the way the airline industry is moving with technology and things like that, by the time they do actually release it, I think we're going to be on to near enough the next generation anyway, aren't we? Where things are moving.
Yeah, it's whether it's going to be around, whether it's going to be with the times or not, or whether it's just going to be
absolutely,
completely different there. But yeah, so I thought that was quite a sort of a fascinating, little story, that one. Right, so what we'll do is, Ian, if you just want to jump into the comments and read some out that we've not read out yet.
There's only one from somebody called John Burke.
Yes.
I think it looks like one of Jer's friends, I think. Is that one of your friends, Jer, John Burke?
Oh, it is Big R, yeah, because I know by the way he's gave a thumbs up there, and he says, "Bye, Jer." I do get, something, guys? I do get them kind of comments, and of course a lot of my friends love giving me a woo or something like that, like the way Ric Flair in WWE or whatever goes on, the kind of class me in his kind of category. But anyway, WWE is another subject. This is aviation, though, as I say, we're talking about at the moment. But no, he is actually a pretty good friend of mine. But I'm very grateful to him for his wonderful comment there. Like, there's have to been a few nice comments. Oh, so there's another one for you, Ian. I'll let you read it out there.
From Mark Barnard. I can't do it with I can't do it with a northern accent, Joe. You'll have to do that one.
He says, "Woo, whoosh." He says, "Woo, whoosh, Joe." Thank you, Mark.
Well, good evening to John Burke and Mark Barnard, who have joined us this evening.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for joining.
And a big woo to everyone. But
I love it.
Fantastic. So moving on from that sort of thing, let's dive into sort of a topic that is we kind of don't want to talk about, but we will, and it's a list of airlines and their retired aircraft because of the world situation.
Yes.
So in front of me, I've got a list. So I'll read out the list of airlines and planes that they have retired, and I think you'll be quite surprised actually as to. There's a small list, but I'm sure there's plenty that I can think of. But we'll go through it anyway. So the most obvious one.
I've actually got a couple here as well. I've got a couple that have been retired.
All right, so I'll go through my list, and then Ian, you can go through your list, and
all right, it's only a small list.
But we'll start with the obvious one.
Okay.
The obvious one being British Airways retiring the 747-400s because of the situation. Now, a lot of us who have grown up on them, like yourself, Jer, myself, who would see them countlessly when I lived sort of nearby Heathrow Airport and that, and plenty of people were sort of an older generation who know the classics all the way through until the 747-400s.
Yeah,
we'll greatly miss them, but thankfully only a couple of them which are in the heritage, and I think there's one in the standard livery, have all been preserved. So at least we can kind of relive memories by the fact that some of them are still preserved.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, I tell you, I'm going to start with one special one, and you know yourself how much I love it myself, Tom, and that's the Negos special livery 747. That I cannot wait. I cannot wait when I do get to visit the UK again to come back and go and visit her resting place and get to touch her and to say how much I loved seeing her when she was gracing our skies, because there was often times I used to go outside my door here in Kilkenny, and I was able to see her flying over the top of Kilkenny, heading on her way to JFK, or maybe heading to Las Vegas or other airports across the US. It was always a lovely pride to see that old livery gracing the Irish skies as she used to come from the London Heathrow all the time. I miss her. I do miss her. I do miss any of the queens of the skies flying now because we're only limited to what we have, which is cargo 747s. But at least we have queens still flying, which is a good thing.
Yes. And I think the other sort of the big hit, and it's not so much an airline, but it's so much the aircraft, which is the A380. The likes of Air France and, as we've discussed many times on the episodes here, like Air France, Etihad, Qatar, potentially thinking about it. I'm trying to think of who else. Singapore, I think they've still got some of theirs, but they've retired some of theirs early. Wrong aircraft, wrong time, I suppose.
Yeah, I think so. And the thing is, Tom, the amazing thing, like Air France, when they retired their A380s, they picked a very, very particular spot to actually send them to be scrapped, and that was Knock Airport in County Mayo here in Ireland. That's where several of Air France's 380s have actually came. Imagine like being at a small regional airport, like, and next thing a big massive king of the skies, as the 380 is known as, flying in to land on a runway at Knock Airport, like in County Mayo. It brought, believe it or not, when those 380s actually were retired, it actually brought so many plane spotters out to see them coming in to land at that airport. That would have been awesome. That would have,
Yeah, Ian, what's your make on the fact that obviously airlines are now using the current situation to get rid of the likes of the A380 and sort of the aircraft that weren't supposed to be gone for another couple of years?
I think with 747, I think that was inevitable anyway, weren't it? I mean, what is it, 51 years old or something, 50 years old? It's an old plane, isn't it? The design's old, I think things have moved on so much that, again, I go back to nostalgia, that we're all looking at these planes and we all look at them with fondness and we all recognise it, and everyone knows 747s. It's a massive shame that things like that, but they do come to an end. And same with 380. I think it was a bit of a white elephant, weren't it? 380, like you say, with wrong plane at wrong time. And did I not read somewhere that I think Airbus did stop making parts anyway to replace the replacement parts with 380, and I think that was one of the reasons. And
That's
yeah.
Right.
I think
So obviously, as we know, like Emirates have taken, they've taken, or they're due to. I don't know whether they have or not, but we'll get onto that in a minute. Are due to have the very last one, and then once that's it, then the production line is shut. So they'll be around for a few more years.
I imagine they'll do. I mean, they're massive investments, aren't they, for any airline?
Yeah.
Guys, can I just say something there? I actually heard that there's talks that Lufthansa might be actually transitioning some of their A380s into cargo. I believe someone actually mentioned that to me this morning. Now I was talking to them. It could have been on Facebook now, and someone said it, and I can't think of the name. I can't name the person now who it was.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I want to say because it's been said on Facebook that I don't think. I mean, I've not seen anything on it, and I don't think. I mean, like I said, the A380
I don't
itself,
think you could have a.
There was a proposition to have a freighter version, specifically for like the likes of FedEx, and that, and it just wasn't viable really. So to turn second-hand ones into cargo, I honestly can't see it, because again, if you can't run it with passengers, cargo is going to be a lot heavier. So,
absolutely, yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah. So it just doesn't make sense to me to make the A380 unless you find a way to lighten it, which, good luck with that sort of thing, because I don't think it can be done. But unless you do some drastic changes with it and you give it a way that it can then carry freight to the point where airlines can run it economically, I would not hold my breath to see an A380 freighter.
Do you know
No,
something,
would I?
Tom?
No.
Do you know something now? And I will be honest with you guys. If it, just say out the question, if it was going to happen, how would it do it anyway? Because remember, like the A380, as we know, is a two deck aircraft. Like, you know, you have a passenger compartment downstairs, and then you have the upstairs compartment. So how would it work to be able to transition from passenger to freight? Anyway, that's what I'd like to know.
Yeah, good. This is why I can't see it being done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would probably say the most practical way they'd have to do it is to make it like, you know, where you can fold the nose round at the front.
Mm.
Yeah.
To do something like that to load it, because I don't think the structure's there, is it?
I don't think they could actually. Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
I don't think they
lift
could
the nose.
actually. I don't think they could side load from the side, because I think the fuselage would be weak anyway, wouldn't it?
I think it would be, yeah, because I
Yeah.
mean the top deck I don't think would hold that much cargo anyway, would it? Because it's in a dome, isn't it? It's quite a shallow.
Yeah.
Quite a shallow deck, isn't it, in comparison to what a normal ceiling height of an aeroplane is?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
exactly.
know. No, I don't think it'd work.
No, I don't think so. No. But it was, you know, something that was a good subject, or to.
Yeah, it's an interesting thought, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. You know.
Yes. So obviously that plane's taken a hit. Now if we move away from away from planes to airlines again, I think probably the biggest one to make a massive sort of restructure would be sort of like American Airlines. Now, American Airlines themselves streamlined their fleet beyond belief, really. So I'll read out what they've done. Basically, it's let me just go through here. So I'm going to compare the two. So what they've done is they've got rid completely of the A330-200s that they inherited from the takeover of US Airways. Retired 15 of those. They have completely gone away with the 300s as well, that were also inherited through the takeover. 9 of those have been retired. They were common fixtures at Manchester, the A330s of American, and also at Heathrow as well. So 24 of those in total, just gone just like that. All 34 of their Boeing 757-200s have been retired. And the 17 of the remaining 17, I should say, of their 767-300s also gone. And the entire Embraer 190 fleet, which is 20 of them, all completely gone. So that is a total of 51, 71, 80, about 95 to 100 aircraft just retired.
Wow, that's an awful amount of aircraft, like gone just in the blink of an eye, like when you think of it.
Yeah, it's a crazy number. I mean, if you compare that to what Delta did, Delta again, they also streamlined their fleet big time. So the 737-700s, they got rid of 10 of those. Of course, they retired all variants of the 777, so 8 of their 200 ERs and 10 of their 200 LRs. Completely gone from the fleet. 15 of their older 767-300s are gone. 26 of their 717-200s, they still have a lot of them, but 26 of them retired. 10 A320s, which would more than likely be from the takeover or the merger of Northwest. 10 of those are gone. All 26 MD-90s and all 46 MD-88s. So
that's
again,
right, yeah.
humongous streamlining.
No, it's crazy. It's crazy, Tom. What's after happening over the last year and basically 4 months, and Delta were a big, massive operator of the MD-88s and everything like that. Like I even had planned to go back to visit Atlanta Airport when things actually did pick back up again, but unfortunately I don't think now I would know because the MDA is like would have been my priority because you know the way I love shouting at noisy aircraft. I that's the whole reason I would have been going back over to let rip at the MDs when we going out. But sadly, I'm not going to get the opportunity now. So I may just stick with Ryanair. I think they may just entertain me now for as much as they can. As to say, I'll definitely am going to plan on traveling back to some of my favorite airports again, and get back and hopefully do a visit to Bristol as well, and come visit you, of course, hopefully.
Yes, especially after
Yes,
the Facebook stream that you did yesterday.
yes.
But
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Ian, over to you. Do you want to? We've got a couple of comments in there. Do you want to read them out?
Yeah, we've got Ethan Aviation. What got you guys into aviation?
Joe, I'll let you start.
Yeah, I'll let Joe start with that one.
Well, Ethan, by the way, thanks for the happy birthday wish as well. I absolutely, and to anybody else that's wish me happy birthday on the chat at the moment, I greatly appreciate that. Thank you very much, everybody. You're absolutely, I love you all. I do. But what got me into the aviation was what inspired me. I decided to to go fishing. I used to do fishing to start off first to get me up to where I began my first ever airport trip. I was out at my local swimming pool outside my hometown of Munabyug, Bagnallstown as it's known, where I grew up, and I kept looking up into the sky all the time, and I was watching watching all these planes going over, and I said to myself, God, they're like little matchsticks up there, like flying over, and not knowing when you see them on the ground how huge they are up close, but that's what I thought anyway. And I said to myself, do you know what I'm going to do it? I was thinking to myself here, I'm going to pack in the fishing and I'm going to get into aviation and start going to the local airport, which was Dublin. And so I decided to go up to Dublin. Now I was going to school at the time, but I decided not to go to school one day. My mum brought me over to wait for the school bus to come, and when she had gone around the corner to go home, didn't I go away from the bus stop, and I went over to the train station and I jumped onto the local train to Dublin, and uh, I got a number 41 bus once I got to Houston Station in Dublin, and it brought me out to the airport. Now, Dublin Airport was kind of small back then because I was only 10 years of age, but it still brought in quite big planes. Like there was 707s. I remember the noisy 707s. There was the BAC 111, your favorite plane, I think. Tom, you used to love the BAC 111 yourself, and Aer Lingus had them, of course, and British Airways were flying their BSC 111s into Dublin as well. And that's what got me actually really interested in aircraft because when I seen the Air Canada 747-200 that was actually at Dublin with the old Pratt and Whitney engines, and I looked at it so close, and I said, "Wow, the size of that mother outside that window." I nearly dropped when I seen how big they were up close, like, and I said, and I called the matchsticks in at 30 something thousand feet overhead when I was out fishing near my local swimming pool, and then to see them up close, like that's what got me into the love of aviation. And ever since that time, I went to that airport and I got to fly on the jump seat, of course, of the first Aer Lingus 747 that came to Dublin, which was an absolute privilege. So it was my first time ever on a 747. Never on one as a passenger, but I got to be on the jump seat of one. So that was even top class. Actually sitting behind two trainee pilots. It's absolutely awesome. But no, I have to say, that's my love for aviation, and ever since that actually day, I've never gave up my ambition of aviation. Now you, Tom.
Well, I won't have a long story. I'll keep this as short as possible. We're only on for
right, okay.
We're not on all night,
no
unfortunately. But
I
no,
know.
my old man used to work for British Airways, and he would come home with like models, and that's what kind of got it started, really. And the fact that living near Heathrow, like I did, under the flight path of 09 right, and when they were on Westerlies as well, you could see them coming in on 27 left. You could actually hear them and see them, so they were in a fairly decent. A fairly decent sort of range, but I think once you sort of that first looking up into the sky and seeing them, I think you just get fascinated through just through the whole sort of engineering side of things, really. So that's kind of what kicked off my my sort of love of aviation. Ian, what about you? What kind of got you into it?
I think, like Joe, when I was a kid growing up, where I was brought up in Preston, I was sort of in between Warton Aerodrome and Salisbury Aerodrome as well, which were both owned by BAC, as it was back then. It's BAE Systems now, but obviously they're aircraft manufacturers, so we used to always get things like Jaguars and Canberras and God knows what else, flying backwards and forwards and flying over all the time. Back then, a lot of tornadoes and even English electric lightning as well, things like that.
Yeah.
And just seeing things like that, it's fascinated me. And I think even to this day, it were more military planes rather than civil jets and things like that. But the actual, like you say about the engineering, how on earth does something the size of an A380 get up in air? It's still. Even though you understand a little bit more about aerodynamics and engines and things like that, it still baffles me how something that size and that weight manages to get up in air. It really, really does. Yeah, I think it's an absolute fascinating science behind it, and I think that's a lot of it, to be quite honest.
Fantastic. I hope that's answered your question, Ethan. A lot of information to take from all three of us there. Ian, do you want to carry on with the comments there?
Yeah, well, my boy Knight says great show, guys. So
fantastic!
Brilliant, thank you, Mike. Yep. And there is another question from Ethan Aviation there. If you could be the pilot of any plane, what would it be and why?
Good question.
Oh, now that's a good question.
I'll answer the first one because mine's a very simple one. Mine would be the 757 because, and the simple answer is it's my all-time favourite aircraft. If you don't want to jump in the pilot seat of your favourite aircraft, then you're a bit silly, really. but for me, easily 757 because it's just an incredible aircraft. And yeah, I would absolutely love to sort of fly it, even if it's just for one day. Let's go with Ian first, and then we'll have Joe at the end.
Okay, doc.
I don't know, to be quite honest. I think I'd like to have a pop in Concorde, to be quite honest.
Yeah, good shout that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's. I think if you ever got a chance to even go in the cockpit of Concorde or anything like that, I think it's just something what would just be tattooed in your mind for the rest of your days, wouldn't it? And you wouldn't stop thinking about it, would you? And I think anybody who likes airplanes would like to have a go in Concorde, wouldn't they?
It's a good shout, actually. Yeah,
definitely.
Very good shout.
Yeah.
So I've gone 757. Ian's gone for the Concorde. Joe, what about you?
Oh well, I tell you, Tom, it's as easy with me, my good friend. I would go with the legendary 747 Queen of the Skies any day. That would be my ambition to be actually at the controls of the Queen of the Skies, just like our wonderful lady that was on a few weeks back, Kat Burton. I'd love to follow in Kat's footsteps and fly the Queen of the Skies. And of course, my second one would probably be Concorde, because going max speed like 1,300 miles an hour. Imagine 3 hours to New York. Like you're there from the time you lift off from Heathrow and straight there in the next 3 hours. Awesome, absolutely awesome.
Fantastic.
Yeah,
Ian,
yeah,
you
definitely.
want to continue?
Bear with me. We've got Paul Maskell saying hello to Jer and Rosalie White. Hi, Jer. Woo! That's as good as it gets with me woos.
Rosalie, I love you, pet. Thank you very much for the big woo. And Paul Merskell, it's absolutely awesome to see you as well. Thank you so very much for joining us on our wonderful podcast. I want to see all of you on our podcast every week if you can, because you're missing out on such wonderful banter and great chat. It's awesome, and I want to thank my good friend Tom for making me his co-host. I'm honoured, and Ian, it's a pleasure having you with us as well. You're an absolute gentleman.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yes. So, like I said, anybody that's watching now, stay to the very end, because obviously we've got next week's special guest, to announce, and of course we've got the giveaway as well, which
Yes.
we'll get to shortly, because I've just looked and we've been running this for an hour and 20 minutes.
Wow!
Already.
Wow, Tom! Yes! Hey! A big round of applause.
So yes, so time has definitely been going, but it's been a lot of fun. So we'll continue with one sort of final topic, really, that I kind of want to get into, which is of course flight simulation. Now, Joe knows, Ian knows, I'm a big flight simmer. I love my flight sims.
Oh yes.
Ian will probably say the same. He loves his flight simulators.
I do love my flight sim, yep.
And Joe, you like yours?
Yes. Oh yes, Tom. Although I have to say, I have played flight simulator. My takeoff is pretty good when I'm taking a plane off, but fortunately, landing kind of comes down with a bump. So if you guys are ever on a plane with me, I'd probably come down with a nice little bump. So I'd probably give you a nice little rock, I'd say.
I think the key word in that is probably if that's how you describe it.
Yeah. Oh yes. What about you, Tom?
But what would be the preferred simulator for everyone here? We'll go with Ian first, because I know what one you're going to pick.
Well, I'll definitely say Flight Sim X, FSX for me. I've tried 2004, which is good, but it's a bit dated now, I think, isn't it? I've played Flight Sim 2020. I just don't find it as playable and as forgiving and as entertaining as Flight Sim X, to be quite honest. Even though it's visually beautiful,
yeah,
I just don't think it's as good.
Agree.
It's just not as good of a sim.
Yeah,
definitely. But FSX for me every day.
Yeah, I've played FSX as well, and the new one, 2020, and X-Plane. And I said this in probably, episode 2, I think, when we had Bradley Penny on, and we were talking about it. Flight Sim 2020 looks good, plays like a bag, and that's all I'll put.
Yeah, absolutely.
Plays like a bag.
Yeah,
so,
I totally agree.
I think you can have a lot more sort of fun and a bit more sort of like realism. I don't want to say realism, but like it just feels proper if you play X-Plane or for me FSX because
I've tried X-Plane. I didn't like that.
No, I think for me FSX is probably the one that I will stick to. Like I stuck to 2004 so long, and made the jump up to FSX. But like I say, trying to play 2020 looks great. Just for me, it's not. It's more arcadey, and I don't like arcadey, slightly like simulators. Which is why I don't go on to things like Infinite Flight and stuff. Never played it, but I know people that do, and I just don't like how it looks. I mean, I'm sure it's a great simulator for those that don't have PCs and stuff, or don't have FSX or Microsoft 2020 or what's the other one?
I've actually got Infinite Flight on my iPad. It's awful.
Controversial, but everyone's entitled to an opinion.
Absolutely. I think it's awful.
Joe, which one
did?
Joe, which one do you play?
Well, I've had a go. I've had a go at the one you've played once or twice, Tom. I found it kind of hard, but I'd love to learn it a bit more though. Like down the line, like I'm not going to give up on it or anything like that. But it does. The graphics on it now are absolutely awesome. Now I have to say that for one thing. I love and I love the way you can actually. Kind of pick and choose what plane you like and that as well. I picked the 747 now, of course, on my last time I had to go, and now I did land it. It wasn't easy, but it took a lot of practice. I had to do a go around actually on my first approach, and so I said and then I came back around and I kind of nearly hit me wing off the ground as I was landing, but I got it down. I got down in one piece. I was very lucky, Yeah. But no, I love it. I actually like the one you play now, and like you sent me some lovely pictures of the Garuda Indonesian MD-11.
Yes.
And of course, my favorite three-engined aircraft. I love the MD-11.
Yeah, I did that. Did that this morning.
Yeah.
It was it was an interesting little flight actually. But talking.
How did you get on?
I was alright.
How did you get on with it?
Yeah, it was. I got on alright with it, landed it, and taxied to the gate in Australia. So I'm halfway through my little world tour that I've got going
nice
on.
One.
So not too
nice
bad.
One.
In terms of flights, then, Joe, can you remember the last one that you did?
The last one I did, believe it or not, Tom, was to. This is before things kind of went downhill. Of course, the last flight I was on was at Frankfurt Airport back not now April gone last year. I was in Frankfurt. I went over to get the Lufthansa cargo MD-11s. It was my last time. Well, I think it is my last time to probably see them now because they are retiring them gradually. I think 777s are being the main priority now. I think there's an odd Lufthansa cargo MD-11 in the air still, but I don't know how long more. But the only good news about them, they're not going to be gone. Like they're not getting scrapped or going to UPS. So at least they're going to a new home. So they still have many more years hopefully to keep flying. Like, but it's not going to be the same if I ever go back. But the flight I was on was with Ryanair. I flew with Ryanair, and I will say I know I might curse at them sometimes, but I have to say it was a lovely flight and got treated like royalty on board the flight as well. So I can't complain on that department.
Whilst it's a great story in that, you do know I was on about Flight Sim, didn't you?
I thought he was.
Come on, Joe.
now you tell me, Tom. Well, there you go. Hey, listen. We're ending the show on a good band. I love it. Yeah. Well, actually, come to think of it, get back. I get back to the flight sim. My favourite flight was flying a 737-200.
You do make me laugh.
I do, and you know, that's what I love. I love to hear you guys actually having a good laugh, and that's what it's all about. And you know, something if we can make every Sunday night like this, it'd be absolutely fantastic.
Definitely.
It's the best thing. You know something, Tom? It's the best thing that we've brought out, and I tell you, I hope there's going to be many more of them as time goes, because I tell you, it's great. It's great for me because it's hard to believe that we're actually on episode 6 already. I you know, where has those weeks gone, guys?
Absolutely flown by. Completely flown by.
Yeah.
So your sort of last flight was a 737-200. Ian, what about you?
Yeah, 200, Tom.
And I'm talking flight sim, by the way.
Yeah. My last flight was from. I had it written down somewhere. So I keep all like little logs of where I've been and what have you. So yeah, I went from Alabama to Tennessee. Not at all. I went from Tennessee to Kentucky. I'm currently doing a tour of America, and I'm going from state to state using either a United. I'm only using small planes like a United 320 or something like that. So yeah, so I went from Tennessee to Kentucky. Yeah, this morning.
Excellent. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow,
I beg pardon,
that's
Tom.
brilliant.
I said, what did you order?
Oh, right, yeah.
I know, crap joke and all that.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So what about you, Tom?
Mine was actually this morning, and I used a very nice Garuda MD-11 from Bali in Indonesia to the wonderful city of Perth in Australia.
Yeah.
It took me 3 or so hours. But yeah, very nice. And tomorrow I plan on doing Perth to Adelaide, which is about 2.5 hours in Qantas's A380.
All right, happy days.
So yeah,
Tom,
should be a lot of fun.
Tom, I'm going to give you a challenge now, and I hope you take me up on this. I'm giving you a challenge to have a go with Concorde after your 380 flight. There's one
on my
list.
It is on my list.
Good. Well, I hope you fulfill it now, because I'd love to see how you got on. Actually, Ian, I'm issuing the same challenge to you, my good friend.
That'll be interesting.
It would be for me. I'm a massive Airbus fan when it comes to flight simulators, because they are so easy to fly compared to anything else I've flown on a flight sim. I just find Airbus is so straightforward. So yeah. So flying a Concorde would be a challenge.
Well, you know something. Listen, I'm going to give me and you now, Tom. I know we have a guest now next week, please God. But I'm going to ask a question next week when we before we come on. How you guys got on? How you guys got on next Saturday? Okay.
I'll give it a go.
I'll do my best. I don't get a lot of time to play it, but
yeah,
I'll get round to it.
Yeah,
nice
I'll give it a go sometime this week. Yeah, definitely.
But yes,
nice one, guys.
So that's the sort of the end of the chat for now. We'll get into, because we'll start wrapping this up now, because we have officially been going for an hour and a half.
What a show! What a show!
It's definitely been a lot of fun. Ian, there's a few comments in there. Do you want to give them a read?
Yeah, we've got Danielle Beham saying hey. Daniel Beham again. Well done, guys. And
you,
Danielle Beham, 2 hearts. And Sorry, I was just going to mention Rosalie White as well at the end, saying loving this.
Fantastic.
So, nice one. Brilliant. Listen, Danielle, a big shout out to you and to you as well, Rosalie. Thank you so very much.
Excellent.
It's been an awesome fun. So it has.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Thank you to Danielle and Rosalie, who So loving the stream and that. So yeah, big shout out to you guys. Now let's get on to sort of wrapping the podcast up. So for people that follow myself on Twitter and Instagram, we ran a competition during the week, a photo of the week competition, where if you saw last week's episode, we had artist Marco Barrett, who did a lot of aircraft drawings and stuff, and they were like world class. And the prize for the person that won would be to get a sketch of their own aircraft, of any aircraft in any livery that they want. Doesn't have to be one that's flying. It can be any aircraft in any livery at all. So for example, if you wanted to be a Landor livery in an MD-11, that can be done. If you wanted Qantas on a 777, that can be done. So that was the prize that was up for grabs, and we had quite a few entries, and Joe and I sat and deliberated over the entries and who would win. It was very difficult to kind of narrow it down, and very difficult to pick a winner. But it is my pleasure to announce the winner. So, the winner of the giveaway this week, and of course we'll be running plenty more giveaways in the future, but the winner of the photo of the week competition is Rosie Minshaw, with this picture of the Virgin 747 front nose gear and the nose of Ruby Tuesday.
Oh, lovely stuff. Congratulations.
Nice picture, yeah, well done.
Yeah, so congratulations, Rosie. We'll be in touch to see which aircraft and livery that you want, and we'll get that to you as soon as we can. But
big shout out, Rosie. Well done to you.
And also a big thank you to everybody that entered. Like I said, in the future we will.
Wow. Brilliant.
We will be running more sort of giveaways as and when we can. So yeah, definitely keep an eye out. And of course, if you want to be part of it, just give the channel a subscribe and follow us on our socials for updates and any kind of competitions that we will run. So yes,
awesome. Absolutely awesome.
So that's that. So yeah, so big congratulations. Now, before we wrap up, next week's guest. Special show. Time will be now confirmed because we're having to sort of work around her at the moment. But next week we have a first officer on the Airbus A350 for one of the big three American airlines, which I have been told we are not allowed to state, but I'm sure you can work it out because they're based in Atlanta. So, next week we have the wonderful lady Carleen Petit on the show, answering everything to do with what it's like to fly the A350 and what it's like to go to the destinations that it serves, including where I'm at on Flight Sim, which is Australia. So definitely one to tune into next week. So if anybody wants to ask her anything in terms of being a first officer on the A350, she has flown many, and I mean many, aircraft from 727 all the way up to 75s, 747s and everything. So definitely worth keep an eye out on next week. But
that will be a show, Tom. That will be a show and a half.
Yeah, so it's so I'm looking forward to that. So it's going to be fantastic. And then,
same here.
Yes.
Yeah.
We got some really good guests coming up over the next couple of weeks. So definitely worth keeping an eye out on. And definitely, I think, worth subscribing to. But that's just me plugging my own channel.
Well done, Tom.
But yes, so tune in next week to hear Carleen Petit on the show. But that's going to do it. That's going to do it for episode number 6, and I can't believe how quick it's gone.
It's flew. It's absolutely
flown by.
Tom, I think what we should do, and I know you always announce it before we wrap up, which of us wants to give a couple of shout-outs to people, I suppose.
Indeed, that's what I was about to get to. So
Good man yourself.
This is the portion then, as we start to wrap up of the show, where we start to give some shout-outs to some very, very, very important people that we know and people in the world. We'll start with you, Ian. We always start with sort of guests or people that aren't me or Joe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Use this time to give anybody you like a shout-out.
Right, well, I've got a list in front of me here, so no. Just to you two guys, really. Thanks for having me on. I've really, really enjoyed it. It's been a quick hour, an hour and 40 minutes now, but really enjoyed it. And thanks to everyone who's tuned in tonight and commented and what have you. And thanks very much. And see you all next week. And happy days.
Yeah, fantastic.
Have a nice week.
Do you know something, Ian? Fantastic. Do you know something? It's been a pleasure having you on with us, mate. You're absolutely a legend. So you're.
Yeah, thanks, Joe. Cheers.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome.
Don't blow smoke
I
up
tell
his
you
ass.
one thing. And Tom, listen, I'm not forgetting you. You're a legend too, my good friend.
Well, you know.
But not as good as me.
No. So the plan basically is I'm hoping that if everybody agrees with me, they can stick a thumbs up in the chat, or even just a like on the stream, to keep Ian as our resident comment reader. Not to say that we're being lazy, but it gets them involved and it just adds a bit more of a dimension to the podcast. So if everyone's been happy with Ian this evening reading out the comments, big thumbs up in either the chat or on the stream. And next week he'll be with us. But so Ian's given his shout outs.
Yeah.
Go on, Ian.
Ian's put thumbs up. Ethan Aviation's put a thumbs up, so I'll stick him a $5 in post. Thanks.
If ever you need motivation to stick a thumbs up, Ian will send you a $5, so you may as well do it.
Hey, Ian.
Hello.
I've given you a love heart, so that's.
It's not quite a $5, but it'll do.
Yeah.
Love hearts are £10, I think.
Nice one, Tom.
But no.
Wow.
So hopefully next week, if everyone wants to see it, Ian will be with us. Reading out the comments. Ian's given out his shout outs. Joe, I trust you have a list.
I have a bit of a list, sorry. Yes, Tom, and my first special shout out goes to a good friend of mine from Dublin. His name is Donald O'Donoghue. Now he's a very good friend of mine. I do follow him on his dating pages sometimes that he has set up on Facebook. And I want to give him a shout out, and also as well to yourself, Tom, to Ian, a big shout out, of course. And I want you to join his thunderstorm page that he has set up on his Facebook. And Danielle, Eden, all join my good friend Donald's thunderstorm page. He set up a thunderstorm page this morning. I was the first one to actually join in, so I'm delighted. Hello there. Who else have I? Of course, shout out to you, Tom. Shout out to Ian, of course, and his family, and a shout out to Danielle, Rosalie, Paul. My friend Paul Kelly, of course, and his family. Big shout out to him as well, and to my own family, my brother and that, and of course, and a big happy birthday to me on Tuesday. That's it for me, Tom.
I kind of expected a bit more from you, but yeah, no, that's fine.
Oh yeah, no, hold on.
Oh no, what have I done?
1 second. I almost forgot. And of course, as we always do every week on our shows, a big shout out to all our important frontline workers that are doing an absolute fantastic job. The frontline workers here in the HSE here in Ireland, and a shout out and a shout out to the NHS people in the good old United Kingdom as well. And shout out to everyone that's doing a great job out there. Keep up the good work and stay safe, everybody. And we love you all and take care. That's it for me, Tom.
You stole my line.
I did. I stole your line. I did. But you have the floor now.
So my shout outs go to everybody that has watched this evening and stuck with us for the 1 hour 41 minutes and 50 seconds that we've been going. So big shout out to you guys. I'll just run through a few names: Leo911, Killian Martin, Jenny French, Kate O'Connor, John Berg, Mark Manard.
Oh yeah, Kate.
Ethan Aviation. Massive thank you to you for contributing in the chat. Rosalie White as well, and Danielle Bien as well. Massive shout out to all of you, and of course everybody that, like I said, has contributed into the chat. As Jer stole my line, I'm going to repeat what he said. Massive shout out to everybody, everybody working on the front line, NHS, and of course all over the world as well. Big respect to all of you for keeping us as safe as possible, given the strengths that we're going to. Things are looking up. So stick at it, keep going, and we'll get through it. And we absolutely love you guys for the work that you've been doing. And also, I'm not going to name any names, but there's one person in particular that I would like to thank for basically being my absolute rock through what's been very difficult times in terms of my sort of mental health. So they know who they are. So I don't know, they've been watching. So massive thank you to you. A lot of love sent your way. So that is it. Ian, apparently you owe Ethan 50 quid for all the thumbs up.
Well, I'll wait for the check from you, Tom. And I'll take it out of that.
Yeah. Well,
I'll take it out of my payment for this week.
Well, just like the A380 freighter, don't hold your breath. So
fair enough.
But no. So yeah. So a big thank you to Ian for his debut appearance on the show. Been absolutely wonderful having you on, actually. Because you're used to watching and now you've been part of it. What did you make of it?
Yeah. Probably I'll give it a miss next week. Cheers, Tom.
Yeah, no worries. We didn't like you anyway. I was just being nice.
No, I've really enjoyed it. It's been absolutely fantastic. It's been really good. I really enjoyed it.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Well, we don't want you on next week, so never mind.
That's fair enough.
Not until you give Ethan his money, anyway. But yeah, so big thank you to you for coming on and reading out the comments. We'll hopefully have you back because a lot of people are wanting you back. So watch this space. Jared, big thank you to you for co-hosting the show this evening.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks very much. Thanks for making me a good co-host. I absolutely appreciate it. I wouldn't be where I am only for you, my good friend, and I'm very grateful to you. And like the thing is, when I appeared as your guest on it for the first time, that's what gave me the big drive, and I'm so delighted, and and I hope to go a long way with this as the weeks and that fare out. And thanks very much for making me who I am, and that Tom, I'm so grateful. And to all my friends on Facebook as well, like who have followed me down through the years with my live streams, like at the airport, and the live streams that I do from home at the moment while I'm waiting to get back out onto the field. And thank you very much for letting me use some of your your beautiful work as well, Tom, with Manchester. That I'm going to continue the trend. Hopefully later tonight. Of course, I have to go and visit a friend now and have a cup of tea with him after the show. And that, but I want to have a bit of a chat with yourselves before I do head off.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that's fine. So as long as people love the stream and want to see more podcasts, then we'll keep doing it. This ain't going to be over for a long time. Yep. So hoping it'll only go from strength to strength. So yes. But so big thank you to you two for contributing to the show. Big thank you to everybody that's watched. And like I said, next week we have First Officer of the Airbus A350, still flying with them now. Carleen Petit on the show. So that'll do for us. So continue to look after yourselves. Before I do that, everyone can say bye. So Ian, say goodbye to everyone.
Yep, goodbye everyone. Thanks for listening in. Have a nice birthday, Joe, too, Tuesday.
Thank you very much, Ian. I absolutely appreciate that, and from yourself as well, Tom. I appreciate it, guys. I love you both. I love you both, and thank you very much. And to everybody that tuned in tonight, I want to thank you all for birthday wishes as well. I absolutely appreciate it. And stay safe, look after yourselves, and we'll talk to you all soon. Take care. All the best, everyone. Take care, Tom. Take care, Ian.
Yep, see you.
And from me, continue to look after yourselves. Stay safe. We'll hopefully see you again this time next week. So Joe, Tuesday, happy birthday. Yes, by the time next week rolls around, we'll have Joe being a year older. So look after yourselves, stay safe, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks, Tom.
We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye, everyone. Bye.